Hey people. So something that has just kind of been percolating in my mind today is this thought. There's something that I read. This is something that I read ages ago, and it's sort of been tying into some events and just some the way my life is now, just what I witness on a daily basis. I've been thinking about watching Annalise grow up and just watching the way she responds to things and the way she learns so quickly, and there's this kind of amazing just exponentially growing awareness. There's this awareness bubble that's just, it's like it's expanding exponentially as she gets older, and it really feels exponential. It's happening so fast, and it's accelerating from day to day. And so then something that has just been sort of kicking around in my mind today is, there's a way in which there's something so beautiful about watching that, and so, like just compelling. It's so compelling to watch a toddler, a young person, absorb the world and experience the world. And I think there's something in that really strikes a chord with everybody. There's something, it's like this weird, and because on one level it's like, well, why do we find toddlers cute? Like, why is it that little kids that purity, that sort of like the way that they see the world, why does that resonate with people? Why do we universally go, oh, like, why does our heart go out as we see that? And I think there's something in it. So, and this is where I've kind of been kicking around this idea from something that I read a while back, which I will tell you in a moment. But there's this way in which it's like it is a kind of purity. It is a kind of openness, and it's almost like we get to see the world through the eyes of this young being who's seeing it for the first time. And that experience is so refreshing because we've become so accustomed to seeing the world through all the filters that we have. We as adults, and this is a thoroughly necessary thing, we've learned to apply a lot of filters to the world. And, I think over time, and if you can call them filters, you can call them patterns, whatever word you want to use, we have a way of not just seeing the world, but interpreting the world. And as we watch a young person witness the world and begin to interpret, but we watch them build their interpretation, and we see the infinite potential for interpretation. We see all the ways in which they might be free to interpret the world that we are not free, or that maybe we are, but that we might not anticipate, that we might not have expected. And it's like this revelation. It's this openness and this sort of ease of connection to the moment and the world that gives us this that's why we all just go gaga over little kids, and why it's so much fun to watch them develop their experiences and experience the world. And there's something that Ken Wilber wrote, a philosopher that I was very enamored with for a period of time, and still really have a lot of respect for and find a genius in many, many ways. He wrote something, and I forget what book this is even in, but he defines beauty as transparency to the one. And I love that definition, because it's like it's like it unifies the immanent and the transcendent. It unifies the world with the beyond the world. Because it's like if beauty is transparency to the whole, then beauty is a way in which we see through. It's almost like the object that is beautiful to us is not beautiful to us because it's attracting us. It's beautiful to us because it opens a door into something that goes way beyond it, and we poof. It's like we resonate with something that's much exponentially larger, that's infinitely larger than the object itself, and that's the experience of beauty. And I think that's really true. That's just a wonderful definition, whether we're talking about a work of art or a piece of music or just a human being, something in nature, an experience of nature. Essentially anything that definition can hold. And I think for some reason, that's just been showing up for me today. I've been thinking about that definition, and in a little bit in conjunction with watching Annalise grow up and just think kind of like playing with what this experience really is. What am I watching her do? I mean, she says things that just they just shift everything. They just shift the way that I see the world. And I think there's also a part of me right now in the kind of like the big picture of my life that is tapping more and more into what motivates me and what moves me, what inspires me, what's my work really about, what's all of this life stuff really about. And that definition of transparency to the one, beauty as transparency to the one, it dovetails perfectly with the theater training that I did and that I share with Katie, where we spent literally 2 years working on creating what we called a neutral body. And a neutral body is basically a body that's open and engaged and ready to express, ready to allow things to come through. We get rid of as many blocks as we can, physically and emotionally and psychologically. We're trying to like let the body be neutral, actually withdraw from our patterns and become a vessel for something to come through, perfectly in alignment with this idea of transparency to the one. And so for some reason that's been percolating through me, and I've just felt compelled to express it here to you and kind of share that as a way of experiencing beauty, and a way of experiencing, of holding that experience of beauty, and that's just been inspiring me lately. And I think it also informs how I think about music and how I think about the notion of practicing music, the notion of developing a skill on the piano or in any musical or artistic discipline of any kind. What are we really working for? We're working for the ability to let something come through. And I think I could just rattle off a list right now of experiences I'm having with students that I'm working with and other creative people, but I think that what's really just kind of impacting me right now and what feels important is this idea, this definition, and the kind of like attitude that it proposes, which is a very unified posture to assume towards the world. It assumes that the immanent and the transcendent are one, are all here in this moment at all times, and that we are, and that what we're resonating with is actually infinite, even if it's manifesting in an object or a person or a piece of art or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of just been bubbling up for me today, and I wanted to share it. So yeah, thank you for watching, people. I appreciate you very much. I feel like I have more to say on this. Maybe more will come up over the next day or two. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all. I'll see you soon.